in the matter of Conley versus Havenman, case number 24-09958DO. Because this one kind of threw me. What do you mean, Miss Ballas, that technically the parties are not married? This is a divorce case.
Yeah.
Correct. There were proofs taken on the record
Yeah.
earlier this year, and then we
Okay.
filed a motion to set aside a default and a default judgment of divorce.
So the default judgment of divorce is still in or out? I thought it was dismissed.
It was dismissed, so there was never, proofs were preserved, but that doesn't mean that you're divorced.
They're not divorced. They're not divorced. There's no technically about that. The
Okay.
parties are not divorced until the judgment goes in. Okay, that explains. I was trying to get, I'm like,
It is a little unusual.
I've seen weirder things happen, but no, judgment has to be entered to make the final divorce. They can't get remarried to anybody. Hopefully nobody has done that, right?
I'm sure they haven't.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I had somebody admit a few weeks ago they don't understand why the divorce is taking so long. They got remarried 3 weeks ago. So I just, my jaw dropped, but anyway, so it does.
We had a file together that recently got dismissed. There was a Florida marriage and here.
Okay.
I think it was on your docket. And anyway, they
like I said, I've seen weird things happen.
Divorce.
Yeah, I've seen weird things happen. So in any event, so they're still married. The gist of this is how much medical expenses have been incurred since the insurance was dropped.
I'll let my client speak to that. Renee?
Ma'am, how much medical expenses have been incurred?
Well, I've actually been advised not to go unless I want to pay out of pocket.
Again, that's not the answer to my question. I want to know what's been incurred. Have there been expenses?
No, I have not been to a doctor.
So technically, the only damage is you have not been able to get to a doctor.
Correct.
Okay, because I'm asking these questions for a specific reason. Because right now, at this point, I'm just trying to get you guys through this.
Thank you.
Because Miss Ballast, your client, I'm trying to figure out how he deleted her from the insurance outside of the enrollment period. Because he deleted her before October.
I don't think there was ever an intention to delete her.
Well, he dropped her from the insurance.
He was fired from a job after an earlier.
But he was fired long after he took her off the insurance, according to the pleadings.
No, that's not true. There was an earlier motion in October of 2024, and my client was fired 2 days after the order to reinstate was entered.
Okay. And you're saying that there was some fraud in that, Mr. Vanden Heuvel, correct?
Correct. When we filed, actually, he was not fired. We knew about him taking her off.
Okay. But he took her off beforehand, and I'm still trying to figure out how he did that, because you really can't do that without an event unless you're in the enrollment or disenrollment.
It was never an intention to remove her from insurance.
Oh, you have to intentionally remove somebody from insurance.
He lost his job.
You don't no, the insurance was dropped before the job was lost. Like,
if you'd
months.
like to inquire of my client, I can have him be present. I see that he's not.
When do we know that the insurance was dropped?
So my boss canceled the insurance. I'd never told him
when did he cancel the insurance?
It was while I was still employed. I was fired when I brought the motion to him, or showed the motion to him, to reinstate insurance.
Okay.
That is when I was
fired.
So
can you give me the timelines, please? Because I asked a specific question. When did he drop her from the insurance?
I do not have that date.
Seriously. And you were fired in October?
Yes, it was probably 2-3 weeks before I was fired there.
And why would he have dropped her from the insurance?
Because what he says, he was sick of paying for it when we were not together anymore.
How long were you separated? You were separated a few months by that point in time, correct?
It was almost 6 to 8 months.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't really get that choice. So it sounds like, Ms. Ballast, you might have some other legal work to do for your client. But now we're at the stage that we need to get her insurance, and the question is, what's the better way to do that? Put her on his insurance at his new place, which he doesn't get according to the pleadings until May, because he's got to be there long enough. Ma'am, and you work for Horwell Health, correct?
Correct.
And when are you eligible for insurance? Because you're going to have to get your own shortly anyway.
Correct.
So,
Once I'm divorced, I honestly didn't know that it would take this long. I thought once the default judgment went through,
well, once the default judgment was placed in, it should have been done, but it was overturned. So we're
correct.
back to square one. So you're right. It's taking longer than everyone thought. But my thought is at this point, if you need an order to instate because it's outside the period and you've not had an event such as the divorce, which the judgment would allow you to apply, check with your healthcare provider. And I would suggest that, yeah, you get the right to, try and apply for that. But I would say that that's going to be the easiest way here. And if you need an order, Mr. Van Hubel, for your client, I'd be more than happy to sign that order to say that she's got to get her own insurance. But at this point in time, due to the events that have occurred, I don't think I have a choice. I'm not going to order him to carry you on insurance because that's only going to last hopefully 2 months, maybe less. Let's get this done. And as to attorney fees, there's no way I'm granting attorney fees on this. And so I'm deleting your motion to strike, Mr. Van Heuvel, those pleadings, because I'm going to rule on them, and therefore I'm not granting. I mean, the parties have done, and I'm not sure what the heck happened. Again, Ms. Ballas, sounds like you've got some legal work that you can go with the employer because I think it's kind of a problem for an employer to fire somebody over a court order, if that is in fact what occurred. It's also not within the constraints of the law for that employer to delete health insurance at a whim.
Understood.
So, but
You-
what else can I do for you? What else do you need? Do you need a
Referee-
settlement conference or something to get this moving, to get this done?
We would
We
after
have-
our mediation, but can I ask for an order then for her? Because
Yeah, I said I'm going to grant her an order that says that she needs to get her own health insurance because that may be an okay event to trigger her to get her own. And that
Yeah,
would be the
once
better
we have a-
solution here and the cheaper solution because you don't want to switch this in 2 months anyway. And then getting him to get her the insurance. Now, any costs or something might be arguable in a mediation or a divorce trial, but I'm not sure if there were no costs incurred. There's no monetary damages done. Now, if she was ill and absolutely needed some medical attention, we would talk about those medical bills because they're still marital. You guys are still married, therefore the bills are going to be marital or arguably marital. So, and it could be argued the reason that I asked the question about how much you incurred, Ms. Connolly, is because under these circumstances, sir, you may have been charged 100% of those costs because it was events that happened under your purview that necessitated the cost. But since there are none, we don't even have that discussion. I'm just trying to put you both on a path that can get you through this and get you divorced. You
So
said you have
do I
mediation
need to
scheduled?
Wait,
Yes, mediation is
wait.
scheduled for May 21st.
Okay, what, Ms. Conley?
I'm sorry. Do I need to wait still another however long this takes?
That's why I'm issuing an
for it to
order.
be?
I'm
Okay.
issuing an order. That way you have something to take
Okay.
to your health, to take to your human resources, to say, look, I've got a court order that says I have to carry my own insurance now.
Correct. As far as seeing a doctor that I've been
You
waiting.
may have to wait until you get the insurance, but you're going to have to wait one way or the other. Even if I had him do your insurance, he can't get it for another month because that's when his employment would allow for it. We only cover people through the employer if it's available at a reasonable cost.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, he canceled the insurance back on May 31st. It was 1 month after he left.
well, and again, I was, he's saying his employer did that. I'm saying that smacks of some problems.
Yeah, I spoke
And
with the insurance company.
yeah,
Told me
so
the
I
whole
don't
thing.
know how it was done. I know that I've got arguments both for and how it was not, and they contradict each other in your pleadings. So I would need to have a hearing and probably hear from the insurance company as to who, but you're going to spend a lot of money to get nothing out of it. Okay. So
Okay.
that's why I'm trying to lead you down this path that will set you to finalizing this.
Thank
Because
you.
right now I can't undo what was done months ago.
Correct.
I could if he was still at the employer, I could order that employer, but he already had the order to reinstate. He was ordered to reinstate it then and he got fired. So again, those are other issues not before the court because you two are the ones that are on this case, not any third parties. So, all right, Mr. Van Heuvel, I'm granting you the order. I'm not granting any attorney fees on this. And if you need a settlement conference after the mediation, please contact my clerk
I will.
I'll do-
Thank you.
or contact judge's clerk if you prefer him. No problem. All right.
Thank you.
You know me. I don't have a choice as to what I hear. Judge gets to choose that, but let's get her insured.
Agreed.
As right now, neither one of them are insured, so they're both out in the wind. And then he'll get his insurance when his employer allows for it at the end of May. Good luck, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Honor.
Take care. The pleadings in that one were messy. But like I
Mm.
said, what do you mean technically they're not married? Excuse me? What?